Hi, welcome to T-Rex Reads. I am Becky.
I'm Lindy.
I waited this time.
Also known as Anne. So today we are doing, it's not a book tag or anything, we're just doing a brief discussion on what'll make us not finish a book. Because Lauren, I think, is one that will not finish books, but she's not here today. All three of us are people that end up finishing books that are really terrible. Yeah. And then possibly regretting it later, but we'll do it anyways. Lindy, what's something that will make you not finish a book?
Pathetic love triangles.
Oh, that's a good one. One of the things for me is if the book is not as good as I expected and I check it out on an e-loan from the library and my book expires, I will just never get around to refinishing it.
I'll generally get through a book, and if it's a series of books, I'll just be like, that's the last one I'm reading of this series.
What'll make you not finish a series, though?
Badly written characters. Let's start with The School of Good and Evil.
Which everyone here enjoyed reading.
Except for me.
Except for Anne.
Badly done, reverse stereotype. There was just no characterization. Nobody grew.
Well, my husband listened to the parts of the first two on audiobook with me, and he made some of the same comments about, that there's no character consistency. That,
Consistency is exactly the word that I was looking for.
They won't, the decisions that they make in one scene don't necessarily fit with what the decisions that they're going to make in the next scene.
It bugged the heck out of me, but I still finished the book. I may have been a lot snarky with all of my comments.
I will link to her review of that down below, because it's pretty entertaining review, even though I enjoyed the book.
I end up reading a lot of fan fiction online, which is generally done, updated chapter by chapter. That I'm a lot more liberal with.
Because you understand what you're reading. What you're reading is, your bar is set lower.
Yeah, my bar is set lower because mostly they're unpublished authors, basically, or,
they're writing it for their enjoyment and to share for your enjoyment.
Right.
It's not written to make money in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So, you're a lot less judgmental of, this made it past a publisher? An editor let them do this? Although, okay, so I don't read self-pub books, especially cheap or free books, because I just, for example, I'm not even gonna look up what the name.
Mostly terrible.
I'm not even gonna look up what the name of this book was. I think I was texting you about it. It was so bad that it was a collection of YA short horror stories, and I was like, even if they're badly written, it's a collection of short stories. Surely, out of 10 authors, a couple of them have to be okay. The first story, they had stuff like she fell into the hole. WHOLE. For serious? And it wasn't the only homonym screw up. And they had 3 or 4 of them within the first 10 pages, and I was like, I can't.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Every time for me, it's if I'm giving up on a story in the first couple of paragraphs, it's because there has been 2 or more grammatical mistakes, and I'm like, I'm out, I'm done, this is not going to get any better.
And it's not minor ones, it's got to be severe ones. Little minor things, I'll leave it alone, but
little minor things, unless I have already come out of the story and I'm coming back in to try to get into the story, I'll notice.
But hole, she fell into the hole.
Indecisive main characters, which relates to my pathetic love triangle.
Yes.
And main characters that make questionable decisions.
I'm such a sucker for that. I will go through a whole book series and be like, oh, look at these, stringing these 2 guys along. I don't know what
I will read bad love triangles and I don't know why. One of the things that'll make me not finish is too much sex in a YA, especially. DNF sometimes for me means I skimmed the book. There's a book that I read that initially the story sounded really fascinating, and Lauren read another book by this author and absolutely loved it. The level of sexual content in there's there's sex and there's masturbation and there's this pervy guy watching girls on the beach and it felt not as bad as, but it felt reminiscent of the Girl Who series, the girl who kicked the hornet's nest and the girl with the dragon tattoos.
Yeah, I didn't read that one.
The problem is that series is written for adults.
Yeah.
But it kept happening over and over and over, and I skimmed because it was just interesting enough. I wanted to know what happened to the characters, but I did not read the entire book. Massive amounts of cursing in the book will do it, and
I don't have that problem.
Gore to the point of just gross. Pride and Prejudice and zombies. talked about this book before. We had a whole conversation about the girl going to poop in the corner.
I remember that conversation.
Like it's stuff like she's eating a bowl of soup and a boil on her face bursts and falls in the soup, and then the like girl that's transforming into a zombie is like Charlotte's like soup, and you're just like, see, this is just gross.
They never put any of the like the soup thing into the movie, but the movie wasn't that great.
Anything else that makes you not finish a book?
Just really bad obvious plot holes.
Yeah. I think one of the things that'll make me stop a series is when I've like really wanted to read the first book in the series, and it ends satisfying enough where I'm like, I don't feel like I need to read the rest, and I don't feel like there's any character story that's just intriguing enough to keep me going.
It was almost that way with Hunger Games. Like, I almost just read the first book, and I was like, that is a satisfying ending. We can stop it there.
One of my friends, I had to talk her into reading the rest of the series because she was like, I didn't care about the Katniss Peeta Gale thing. I didn't care about, like, Katniss as a character. All I liked was the game stuff. And I was like, you should read the rest of the series, but I can't tell you why.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. We'll go with that one. That's been one of the ones in our theme for filming today. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is one where I read the first one. There's like 4, and then like a 5th one that happens years later that just recently came out. And, like, finding out from somebody else that read them what happens to all these characters. And somebody, like, when you get that spoiler and you're like, none of that sounds interesting. I don't want to read that. Oh, one more thing I can think of. So this is not a YA book. And it's not even a fiction book. But there's a book called Devil in the White City that is about H.H. Holmes. And if you're a fan of, like, serial killer stuff, especially real-life serial killers, and you're not familiar with H.H. Holmes, Netflix has, like, 2 documentaries on him. You need to, like, read or watch his stuff, because he is, like, creepy, fascinating. He built this, like, weird fun house of death / hotel. It's going back and telling a story about when H.H. Holmes was a kid, and, like, some of the neighborhood kids, like, grabbed him and dragged him into, like, I want to say, like, I think the local doctor's office, because he had, like, a skeleton in there or something. And, like, how H.H. Holmes, like, smiled creepily at them and, like, really enjoyed being in there with the skeleton or whatever. But it's like, he probably did this. Like, it even says it kind of like that in the book. Like, he probably did this and he probably did... And I'm like, you don't know. You're just making this up because it sounds creepy. You either get to do a historical fiction and do the other Boleyn girl.
Right.
Or you get to tell me the story about him and take a little bit of literary license.
Right,
but
that we know. But yeah.
I made it like 30 or 60 pages into that book, and I was like, I am done.
One of the things that will make me lose interest in a story is first-person narrative.
I don't mind first person. I don't mind first person. Whiny, super whiny characters will... throw in a glass, I'm looking at you. I keep coming back to that book, but it was a blackout, and I would rather sit in silence in a blackout than read that book.
So here's the thing, like, I will continue to read crappy books, and at the end of the book, I am like, why did I waste so much time on this book? It was dumb. And then pick up the next one and do the same thing. And like,
this is why she reads so much Sherilyn Kenyon.
So
she complains every book. She complains every book, but she will keep buying them and keep reading them.
I'm a completionist, and that is a problem. I have talked about Sherilyn Kenyon, like, consistently.
I can't comment. I've only read one of her books, so...
You can't differentiate. Like, they're all sarcastic. They're all beautiful, statuesque, scrumptious.
Adonis, godlike, scrumptious.
Scrumptious.
Wow,
man.
not even Stephanie Meyer did scrumptious. Come on.
I swear to gosh, in the first 4 books, she has described a boy as scrumptious. And I was like...
Not even Stephanie Meyer
that
said
is
scrumptious.
That is not...
He smelled of sweat and sugar cookies, and I'm like, that is a nasty combination. That's not romantic. What? Look, this has nothing to do with anything.
That reminds me of that.
But
why?
YA authors, first of all, stop letting out breasts that you know you were holding, because I will not lie to you, that is something that, like, if there are enough of those bad cliches in there, I have stopped listening to audiobooks or stopped reading books, because
now I'm noticing it, and I a little bit hate Becky for it.
I know, like, I showed you the crack in the glass, and it's all you can see. And stop telling us the boys smell like sweat, because sweat is a gross smell. Have you smelled boy sweat? It smells gross. Boy sweat is nasty. It smells like funk. And I've never, in my life, I am a married woman, and if Steven comes in smelling like funk and he hasn't noticed, because he's been like working in the garden or something, I'll be like, he'll like hug me and I'll be like, you smell bad. And he'll be like, oh, sorry. You know, like I didn't realize. But like, that's never an appealing smell. So now that we went well off topic, we'll say that's the end of that. So let us know in the comments down below what are things that will make you not finish a book, because, you know, other people don't continue to read bad books, and other people don't do like me and Anne and be like, here, this book was so bad, you have to read it. So we'll leave links down below to our blog and where Anne talked about and trashed School for Good and Evil.
So bad. Like, really,
It's gonna be a movie.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Are you gonna just watch the train wreck?
I watched the Power Ranger movies, so I mean, like, my
say nothing.
standards are pretty low at this point.
On that note, we'll say peace out.
So every time we bring up grammatical mistakes, I have to tell the story of the girl that I knew in college who wrote on her Facebook wall, I feel horrible today. She did not write HORRIBLE.
She felt horrible.
She felt...
But maybe she
like
did.
she could stand on a street corner horrible.
Maybe she did. Maybe she wanted some hooker heels for that
That
day. She
was-
felt like a whore.
Like, every time I say this girl's name, I'm like, she feels horrible. Able to be whored.
Sometimes people feel that way. So,
We approve of this message.
we approve of this message.